Hi, I'm Ella. Welcome to my channel where I show you a behind the scenes of what it's like to be a salon owner who is still fully booked behind the chair. Today we're going to talk about all things K-tips. K-tips hair extensions, also sometimes known as fusion extensions. I myself am an extension specialist. I am an extensions educator, and K-tips is one of my favorite methods. I actually think it might be my favorite method. If you're thinking about getting K-tips but want to learn more before making the investment, then follow along. This video is for you. I'm going to cover all the bases. What are K-tip extensions? So K-tip extensions, the K stands for keratin tip extensions. I like to call them a strand per strand application method, meaning you are taking tiny little K-tips and attaching them on tiny sections of the hair. The part on top of the extension that attaches to your hair is a keratin adhesive, and we use a tiny little hot tool to melt that adhesive and wrap it around your hair. They're actually an old school method of extensions, probably one of the first methods, and they've totally made a comeback recently. With anything, the technology, the knowledge, the product itself has gotten way better. They're definitely really popular again right now. So let's go over a little bit more. So there's small pieces of hair, like I said, with a keratin adhesive attached at the top. And when you get them, they usually come in full bonds. Now, they can be cut down into smaller pieces, which makes them totally customizable for each client's hair and hair density. So for example, with someone with finer hair, they can be cut down to match the same density so that when they're attached, they're not too heavy. Whereas someone with thicker hair, you may cut them down less so that it matches the density of their thickness. After we cut them down to your customized size, then they are attached with a small little heat gun, kind of like a mini flat iron, and they are attached closer to the top of the hair shaft. Keratin tips are often installed as a full head extension method or sometimes a hybrid mixed with other methods. I also love to say that these are a problem-solving extension installation. We can put them in areas of the head where other types of extensions can't go. For example, if someone has a starting point where they have, let's say, maybe breakage around the face or on their top layer and they are getting weft extensions, you cannot place a weft where a K-tip can be placed. So you can't place a weft super close to the face. You can't place it super high up. But what you can do is add K-tips in those areas. And what they do is they turn short hairs into long hairs. So if someone has some breakage on their top layer and it's not blending into their weft, you can add K-tips on the top and it will blend out those short hairs to blend and layer into your long wefts. The reason K-tips can go in these areas is because they're so small and seamless and they're made to resemble real hair. Who is a good candidate for K-tips? I'm gonna first off start by saying that people with finer hair tend to love K-tips for an extension install. They are so lightweight, especially compared to weft. Sometimes if someone with finer hair is considering extensions and they opt out to get wefts, they often don't love them because they can feel too bulky on the head. If they don't have a ton of density from their real hair, sometimes it can feel bulky on the head. It can feel too bulky on the bottom if it doesn't match the density of their real hair. So people with fine hair love K-tips. They're also not only used for length, but often used for volume. Lots of people with finer hair are not necessarily looking for a ton of length, but they are looking to add volume to the hair, and these extensions are perfect for adding volume. If someone has thicker hair, they can also be a candidate for K-tips, but there are a few things to consider. One, you don't want to have your ends super blunt. If your hair is really thick and super blunt, the K-tip extensions are more fine and they might not blend out that thick line, so you may want to consider getting wefts or a hybrid method. If you have thicker hair and your ends are not super blunt and they're more tapered down, K-tips can be a good option for you, but please keep in mind if you are looking to add length and you have a ton of hair, you will need to match the density with the K-tips. It may cost quite a bit more if your starting point is already thick hair. Okay, and the question everyone is probably wondering is how much do they cost? I can't give you a firm answer on this, guys, because it's going to depend on so many things: who your hairstylist is, which city you live in, how much education your hairstylist has, which type of hair they're using. There are a number of factors that could go into the cost, especially if you have fine hair versus thick hair, which I was just talking about. You might need more hair to install if you have thicker hair, meaning you're also going to have a longer appointment time. So I will say, out of a lot of extension methods, K-tips are definitely up there cost-wise. This is because the install is strand per strand, like I said before, and it can be quite tedious. Sometimes it could take anywhere from, let's say, a couple hours for a volume install on fine hair, maybe 8 hours on a length and volume install with someone with thicker hair already. So typically you are paying for each pack of hair that you need to complete your look, as well as your hairstylist installing them, which sometimes is a price per pack of hair or hourly. Both of those are really common when paying for K-tips. If I were to give you a rough estimate of a range of what it could cost, it could be anywhere from, I would say, $1,000 to $5,000 to get K-tip extensions, hair, and install. You might be wondering why they're so expensive. They're so expensive because the installation, like I said, it takes a lot of time, and your hairstylist needs to have a lot of training to be certified in doing K-tip extensions. And the reason the install takes so long is, like I said, the strand per strand. So your stylist is picking up tiny, tiny little sections of your hair, placing the K-tip on that section, taking the heat tool, melting it on, wrapping the keratin around your hair, and laying it down. You could have anywhere up to 400 pieces of K-tips in your head. So it is typically a very lengthy install. Another reason they're so expensive is because simply they're amazing. Another thing I like to say is these are like the creme de la creme of extensions. They are so seamless, so blended, so invisible when installed correctly. Also, they're the best method for wearing your hair up. So when the K-tip is installed, it lays flat on your head and there's not a lot of tension. Again, it's super light and they move 360 degrees. If you have had wefts or you're considering wefts, please keep in mind that those only move 180 degrees. So up and down. It isn't as easy to wear your hair in as many up styles, whereas a K-tip, you can wear your hair back at any angle, low, mid, high. You can wear updos, you can do braids. So that is another reason that they are more expensive, because you are not limited in the ways that you can style your hair like with some other methods. Now, another common question people are wondering is, will they ruin my hair? I think back in the day, they definitely got a little bit of a bad rep. I'm gonna go over all the proper maintenance and how to avoid getting any damage with K-tips. So like any extension installation, if you don't properly take care of it at home and maintain it under your hairstylist instruction, there's always risk of damage. K-tips will not ruin your hair if 1, they are installed correctly, 2, you are doing the proper home care, and 3, you're coming for maintenance under your stylist direction. That being said, if you cannot commit to those things, there is definitely risk of damage. So if you are considering getting K-tips, you need to make sure you're ready to commit to the proper home care and maintenance. You want to make sure you find a hairstylist who is trained under a reputable extension company and is certified in doing K-tips. Having a good hairstylist is the first step of making sure that your new K-tips are not going to be damaging to your hair, because if they're not installed correctly, there is risk of tension damage. Second, you need to do the bigger part of the work by taking care of them at home. This means brushing your hair multiple times a day, using all salon grade hair care, shampoo, conditioner. You're gonna wanna have a good hair oil, and never ever sleep with your hair wet. And 3, come back to get a removal at the time that your stylist suggests. Bonus points if you have a silk or satin pillowcase or even hair bonnet to take extra care while you're sleeping, especially if you move a lot at night. If you don't come back for maintenance at your stylist suggested time, you do risk getting matting, which can be quite severe if your K-tips are left for too long. The range K-tips typically last is 3 to 5 months, depending on your starting point. So the last thing I'm gonna cover, which some of you may be wondering, is which brand of hair is best. I'm not gonna lie, guys, there is a ton of professional extension lines out there, but maybe I'm being biased. I truly believe the company that I work and educate for has the best hair on the market. So you're gonna wanna check out Philocally. Philocally is a woman-based, Canadian-based, but worldwide brand, and they have the best extension hair. They work with so many of the top stylists, even celebrity stylists. They're ethically sourced. They focus on being a sustainable company, and the quality really does speak for itself with over 30 different shades to choose from. I love having such a wide range of shades to choose because you can mix and match colors when doing your clients' extensions, creating the most beautiful dimensional colors that you honestly wouldn't be able to make as easily using real color in the salon. If you're looking for a locally hairstylist, they're all over, so you can typically find them through their website or even reach out to them directly. They have great customer service and they'll definitely help you find a hairstylist in your area. Okay guys, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you got all the answers that you were looking for when considering K-tip hair extensions. Please hit the subscribe and follow for more. Bye!